Gentlemen, and welcome back to the WGLNA Season 2 Gold League. I'm your host, Christian Toma. To my left, David Williams. Make sure to check us out on Facebook and YouTube /WGLNA. As always, guys, if you're not watching this on BattleViewer.com, go over there right now and check it out. And finally, follow us on Twitter @WGLNA so you guys can stay up to date on what's happening in the community around you and answer for us the question of the day.
Who is your best battle buddy?
All right, again, shout out to Mark. Shout out to my travel agent, Tim. And also, but my best battle buddy, David, is always going to be you, man. Teach me the game, being there for me when I fly off into the lake, and you pick up all those kills for the rest. So, it's you, man. How about you?
Badco. We're going with Badco. Remember?
That's right. As a team, we're Badco.
We're going with Badco.
Badco is definitely our best battle buddies, as I know he is yours too. So, thank you, Badco, for all that you do. Well, ladies and gentlemen, what you guys saw was Noble picking up the first victory of the night. Up next is going to be Googlybobbers versus eClipse. On the side of Googlybobbers, we have Viral. On the side of eClipse, we have Master Pupil. Gentlemen, welcome to the face-off. Viral, going to go ahead and start over with you, sir, on Googlybobbers. Now, just it's kind of something. We haven't seen you guys for a while. Again, same thing with Aquatic Activities. Haven't seen you guys since last year. So, what have you guys been up to as a team?
We've been up to a lot of things, really. Lots of scrimming, even some lineup changes that you're going to end up seeing here in after the end of next week and stuff like that. Yeah, not going to spoil anything right now, but you guys can probably find out first on our Twitter about halfway through next week.
Nice plug, Viral. I like that a lot.
All right, who is your best battle buddy?
My best battle buddy. From playing with within our own team, I would have to say it's a toss-up between either Luck or Mac or Zombie Food. Like we never ended up playing together with just one battle buddy. We would end up matching together, and just you have to learn to work with everyone on your team, not just one specific person. And yeah, they're all great.
Yeah, #BattleBudDs. It can be plural. It totally can be plural. Thank you so much, Viral, for that. Master Pupil, now over to you, sir. Now, you guys have been doing very good this season so far. Congratulations on that. How was it facing off against High Voltage on Tuesday?
Well, to be honest, we were going in thinking we were going to do a little better than what we actually did. We practiced like 10 different times on 10 different occasions.
Wow.
We really prepared for HWC, and we were hoping with the dismissal of Daki that it would be a little easier for us. And, HWC is a top team, so we weren't expecting a pushover. We were expecting good fights, but we didn't expect to get 5-2'd,
all right,
to say the least.
Well, this probably won't, I'm not going to say that. David, I was going to say, coming from me, I thought watching you guys was amazing, and seeing what you guys have been doing has been awesome, but I don't know how much that means coming from me on this side of the desk.
So then you are going to say it.
I said it because I didn't want them to start thinking, what was he going to say?
All right,
what was he going to say?
All right, people. Who's your best battle buddy?
Well, I think the dude on the other team explained it pretty well. Yeah, you can't just have one, but if I had to choose, since I've known him for the longest time and since he got me on eClipse, I'd have to go with T1.
All right, T1, I bet there's a nice little shout out for you. Master People.
The dude, he says. Virals are people too. He has a name.
that thing over here. Gentlemen, before we get started, Viral, is there anything you'd like to say to Master People before we get into the battle?
Good luck, have fun, and yeah, good luck.
Yeah. All right. Master People, your response.
Tell Tesla to hit me up after this game, okay?
Yeah. Gentlemen, thank you so much. Best of luck to both of you. We'll see you shortly in the battle. That's the best. I think that's one of the best responses I've heard.
No, I'm not touching that one.
That's fine.
At all.
That's
so, for Googlybobbers, we usually, I hear Dr. Halo might actually not be starting today. Or might be showing up late, but otherwise we got Zombie Food, and then you just saw the man himself, Viral. Going into the screen here for the match of the night, or match of now.
The match of now's night. Yeah,
Yes.
The match of the present.
We're going to go with one of those either way. So one of the maps we are very likely to see is Eclipse playing Pororovka a lot. We see Himmelsdorf from Googlybobbers. We haven't seen them play very recently at all. Feels like a long time. Probably because it's been at least a month. And then over here, we can check out what tanks that they've been using. You know, if this had been around when I was running team, this would have been so helpful.
Really?
Yeah, well, you had to track a lot of this stuff manually.
Yeah.
And top score. Well, they even got it all laid out. It's draw cab for Eclipse now, not master pupil. That's interesting. And zombie food for Googlybobbers.
All right. Well, congratulations to both those teams. Himmelsdorf, a map that we have not seen in a long time. Actually, I feel like that. Have we seen it? We haven't seen it since we've come back from break.
I think you are correct.
Yeah. So teams kind of staying away from that map. We'll see if we see it tonight. It'll be interesting because I can't wait to see if teams have brought something new. Again, it'll be also interesting to hear what the surprise that Viral was talking about, which will be next week. But that is again next week. And like we were talking about, this is the match of the present. So let's get right into it. Eclipse versus Googlybobbers starting out. I'm Prokhorovka. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for tanks.
Googlybobbers with a 260, a 140, 2 T22s, and 2 TVPs, along with an RU-251. Eclipse with an E5, 2 Action X's, 2 140s, a T22, and an RU-251 of their own here. Interestingly enough, we are indeed on Prokhorovka.
Yeah.
I think that answers the question we were asking last time. Is it just a coincidence that Eclipse has played it so much? Or do they want it?
Yep.
Apparently they want it.
And if teams start figuring this out, maybe we'll start seeing that getting banned against them. But right now, David, kind of the first thing, the RU-251 is something that we've seen a lot. I use that as a scout a lot on this map. Is there a particular reason why that scout over another, or is it just a pretty good overall tank that you can bring? It's just kind of down to preference.
It's just pretty much the best scout for the tier that can still effectively damage these tanks.
Okay, gotcha. Tigers in that 140 game, very close to the
Valkyrie.
enemy. Valkyrie gonna get lit up though, and is spotted. A lot of damage there going into him. 906 there. He finally finds who is spotting him out, but it's gonna be too late as Tigers is gonna pick up that kill, and that is the first tank of this match falling on the side of Googlybobbers. Meanwhile, Drop Cab in the center there in that E5 starting to back down. He is spotted as well, but man, what a beautiful pickup early on there for Eclipse. Nice positioning there in the bush.
They really worked hard for it, you know?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's like they equipped their magnet on the team and just had one member just get sucked right to
Tractor
him.
beam. It's
Yeah,
Tiger's secret
tractor
weapon.
beam right into it. You got the new upgrade.
That's no moon. That's a 140.
That's an Eclipse. Drawcap starting to back up there. Again, just kind of doing his job spotting.
Just got that.
It
took way too long.
Doing his job spotting himself, but he really is in no danger. And now, again, the RU-251 tank gone just like that. We talked about how on this map, that is actually a pretty big deal. When you have a scout missing, because we have this kind of stalemate going on with both these teams, and usually that's when these two RU-251s, the two scouts, start going out and getting map control. Now Googlybobbers doesn't have that, and it seems they're sending two T-22s over there.
It's a high-pressure map. This is one
that.
where every tank matters more than some other maps, even.
Really?
I mean, every tank matters all the time, but this is such a large map, physically sized. It is hard to watch everything you need to watch without 7 tanks.
All right, here, and so it'll be interesting to see if Googlybobbers can find a way to account for that tank being down, or if this is just going to be Eclipse using that tank advantage for pressure.
Like, look at it right now. You got 2 T-22s over here for Googlybobbers. They don't want to send one of them up to A6 to find out if there's anything there, because if there's anything there, one of them by himself is going to die. This is where they could just provide overwatch while an RU-51 went up, saw Dark God Zim, and Dark God Zim could very likely not escape these T-22s.
Huh,
So he either has to 1v1 or hide behind a wreck or something like that.
But now
there's a lot of different places behind the trains, so we can take a camera over there and show you right now. There's some little trains, just destroyed trains that you can kind of actually drive. Yeah, I don't know if you can still drive into them. You used to be able to drive somewhat into them. They can provide you the safety from those angles, but nothing will make you safe permanently down here. So already we're seeing a lot of time bleeding off the clock because Googlybobbers cannot rotate fast enough. They have to spend more time taking a medium. Now it's Tesla and the Object 140 that has to do all the different things that the 251 would be doing. It's a big problem.
Huh. And now, is that something, obviously you don't plan for a tank to keep going down on your team?
Well, you do. Sometimes.
Okay, sure. But like in a situation like this, probably they didn't want Valkyrie Vios to just run out there and get deleted instantly. And so
no.
And so when that happens, is it usually like one person's job is the fallback scout, or do you have like, okay, you're driving the medium, so you go, you're driving the fastest, so you go, kind of thing?
It more has to do with where a tank is positioned at the time. A 140 is not a bad selection for it. The T-22 is also pretty good for it. you do not necessarily have somebody that's pre-planned as the backup scout. In this format, you don't, at least.
Okay. Okay.
You just gotta play the hand
Like,
you're
all
dealt
right,
at that
now
point.
now we gotta be. Now someone's gotta be a scout.
And in Valkyrie's defense, he went pretty far before he actually saw anything. And there's a good chance, if I went back and looked at it, that he probably should have been spotted a couple different times if the timing wasn't just kind of uniquely weird for him. So say the E5 is down so low at a certain point that he couldn't spot him when usually he could. So Valkyrie may not see anybody else, but he himself will get spotted. And then if you don't see anybody at all, you start getting the idea of, well, it's probably clear. And I want to accelerate this timetable. I want everything to go fast so that we can take up as much territory as possible and rotate and bottle up eClipse into a very small portion of the map as quickly as possible. Pacing is everything. So getting a little bit ahead of yourself is common as a scout, and it didn't work out for him that time. Dark God Zim,
Get
he's
out
had
of
that
there.
happen to himself a couple times. And here we go. This is what should have been happening a while. He's going to have to drive away now. These T-22s are going to get shots at him, and they are taking a little bit of return fire.
Oh, but while that's
They
happening,
should. And Dark
Eclipse
God's
is
just gonna
deciding
get
to
away.
push against Googlybobbers here, surrounding Sovereign. 1,100 points of damage. They're going at 260, but Tugzill's going to take down Tigers before anything happens. And Master People, 1,200 points of damage. Bubble Boy Carl does finally take down that Object 260, but Destruction is going to take down Master People there, and that is 2 tanks down for Eclipse against the 2 Googlybobbers. So they have tied it up, but T1 Diabetic finding that 50-51, making it now a 4-on-5 in favor of Eclipse here. Tugzill taking 681 there. Bubble Boy Carl starting to relocate. He has a shot now up in that Centurion AX, and that is a lot of damage there going onto the members of Googlybobbers. And Druck gonna finish out Tugzill with the help of his team. Nice focus fire coming out there for Eclipse. Viral getting surrounded there. There's nowhere he can go as Mort shuts him down. Destruction Ming a couple more shots away, and that is gonna just leave 7 Tesla alive, which should be the victory there for Eclipse. 9, there it is. Mort picking that one up. And finally, 7 Tesla in the 140. 1,000 points of damage. Nice little ram there from Druck. Bubble Carl kind of surrounding him. Mort gonna finish that one off again. A lot of kills from Mort there, and Eclipse gonna pick up the first victory of our second match of the night against Googlybobbers. So kind of the response that you were looking for. Again, you always see that with teams. Is once just like when something's happening up on north, our guys, I'm being pushed on. We know where their 140 is. All right, now take your guys. Let's just overmatch them. Pretty simple. It looked like worked out for Eclipse. Cake.
You nailed it. Woo!
Nailed it.
That's pretty much it. There's a little bit of nuances in how you do it and the path you take. It's all stuff that when you play in the West of Pro, it's been done season
Time
after
and
season
time
after
and time.
season.
Sure.
The map's been in game. Hasn't changed.
Yeah.
Still do the same stuff.
There we go.
Now it's just a matter of studying those matches and wondering why people did the things they did at the exact time.
And trying to pull them
I
in.
honestly don't even remember. I remember some of the movements. It's like, oh, well, we go here, but I don't remember the little nuanced stuff like why you did it at what time.
Huh.
Let's go to stats.
All
Check
right.
out what happened. Draw cab in the E5 at 34.52. It's a great tank for that job. We had to use T32s. They weren't as good. Mort with the object 140, 21.36. Bubble Boy Carl in the Action X. And really everybody except the guy I picked. Master Pupil finding an avenue into that fight. He went down pretty hard
Yeah.
in the beginning. But that's part of how this map plays. It's just somebody's got to die when you make that push, and you're making that trade. They took, what, 6 tanks into, I believe, 4? No, 3.
Eclipse?
Yes. 3 or so. Because there was 1 in the bowl directly below them.
Right.
And then there were 2 TVPs at the end of the lane. And there were 3 tanks to the east.
Yeah.
So they took us 5 or 6 on 3, and somebody's going to die in that because they still have the crossfire from the T22s. So while I'm not including them in the 3,
Right. They were
it's
still
essentially
part of the
kind of a
battle.
6-on-5, but they're too far away to do the battle buddy stuff, the HP sharing. So they're effectively out. As long as you can battle buddy their damage, they're irrelevant.
And also get behind their allies, and it's like, well, now you can't shoot into us.
Exactly. So it's a great move. It's a pretty classic move.
Yeah.
And I'll see if I can remember exactly when and why you pull the trigger, or when you pull the trigger and why that is.
All right, well, let's get into the next battle now. Eclipse is up 1-0 against Googlybobbers. Let's take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
Googlybobbers with a 260 in E5, a 140 in STB, 2 TVPs and RE51. Eclipse with 2 E5s, 2 140s, 2 STBs, and an RE51. So, what we're talking about here is this place is important, but it's also a death trap. You can catch some fire or some support fire from there, but it's really down here where the 2 TVPs are able to fire up. But if you bring enough tanks down into here, you will kill this guy, and then you can send a force down here. These T50s or TVPs have to choose which direction they're going to go. Are they going to help this way, or are they going to block that way? And from there,
make them decide.
they can only clip once, and then the remaining tanks just start eating them up. And the entire gimmick, in a sense, the whole reason that they're there, their purpose,
Up.
gone.
Yeah.
So it's a uncomfortable call to make, but it's a call that experienced teams make. It's a knowledgeable call where you're going to lose a lot of tanks, but you will come out net positive in the end as long as everybody hits their shots.
Valkyrie view us. Taking a little bit of scouting damage there, but nice return fire coming out for Googlybobbers. 390 going to Bubble Boy Carl. A little bit going to Tigers as well there. So a nice little trade-off. Getting a little damage on your scout for a 140. And two 140s actually. Both 140s for eClipse got hit there. So it looks like eClipse was going pretty hard over here for the Eastern Cap. And Googlybobbers is just getting ready and set up to stop him.
The break for this is pretty well known as well. Essentially take as many mediums as you can. Leave at least one or two there in support. So what we could see, in fact, I can probably bring it up. And we'll see it from overhead here. Oh, no, they're not going to do it. No, there he goes. So one tank here, although back there's a little bit better. These can support the E5s in the event that anybody pushes. So you got to think about it in tiers. You can't just leave people hanging out to dry. But their main objective is to get around west, so they can focus on anybody here and anybody that's on these paths right here.
Okay.
So you leave as much as you have to keep this intact.
Like bare minimum.
And then you send everybody else around in order to find some isolation and get some picks. The RU-251's already there, lead scouting. Now the mediums can take whatever path they want. They didn't have to stray too far from the rest of their team in order to get this done. And we could stay on this map for quite a while because right here is the line. Nobody's going to cross it until they're ready to go. Googlybobbers aren't going to do it voluntarily unless they get a pick.
Sure.
And eClipse is just taking their sweet time setting it up. You got an angle here. You got this little rock here, which we can clear it and you can see a little bit better. You got the rock right here and a rock right here. Oftentimes you get a medium that's set up on one of those two to kind of help them get angles here, or straight into this area. And then you got another medium that's going to come over here. You can get into the bushes and actually fire all the way across without being spotted most of the time, provided he has enough bush cover. So these guys now have one option, and that's to come straight up this way. Try and get an overmatch. And then they run smack dab into 2E5s.
With
and if they're
cover
not careful, they get cover fire from those guys. So this is slowly turning into a very bad situation for Googlybobbers. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that eClipse can't or will guaranteedly win this. Doesn't mean the Googlybobbers can't defend.
But that's what...
It's just all of the strategy that goes into what is happening here. You can look at every map as different portions, different things to cut off, different parts that you can take control of. And the rail line across down the 6th line and that ridge line along the EF line are the two biggest quadrant dividers, essentially, even though it's not exact quadrants. The two biggest dividing lines in the entire map. Now, T1 Diabetic using one of those rocks we were talking about to get some shots on Sovereign Zool. Looks like these E5s gonna slip up and over with not a whole lot of focus fire coming out on them. In fact, nearly none, as the rest of eClipse over here in the west starting to get additional shots into that back cluster that's stuck at A6 and is slowly losing every opportunity they had to escape and make this a winnable game for themselves. Sovereign Zool is no longer the #1 target. He's there, and he can do some damage to draw cap and T1 Diabetic. Not much. They're just going to focus maybe on backing him down, but mostly on killing anybody who pokes up in the A6 area. Valkyrie is going to have to go try and spot out Tigers for these check tanks to win, and that's ultimately going to get him killed too.
Going on to T1 Diabetic there in the SCB1. Vile taking some shots, though. He is just slowly being picked down now below half in that E5. We do have Mort as well as Bubble Boy Carl on top of the hill doing a great job just firing down with that cover fire again. Viral going in and out of being spotted as well. So some of these shots just hitting without a lot of information for Clips. Obviously, they know where a lot of the tanks are. Again, Master People take the shot there just barely missing that E5. Going down on the ground. Eclipse with 10,000 points of HP against Googlybobbers. 8,300 points. See, as we do see there, he's just trying to go through. Viral just barely holding. No, that's going to be it. Drop cap taking him down. The RU-251 now falling. Again, poor Valkyrie, the first member of his team to go down both times now. And that is going to just increase that gap between the HP. 7,600 for Googlybobbers, 9,400 for Eclipse here And now, if you're in the situation for Googlybobbers, is this the time where you go, okay, guys, now let's just, we're slowly losing on all fronts. Well, I mean, you're getting some good returning fire.
In my mind, they're getting distracted for the cap, and they're not playing this as aggressively as they should have been, and they're going to put more at risk here. And their E5 is also possibly going to get traded. There it goes, draw cap going down. This is starting to get a little bit more and more in favor of Googlybobbers as they're actually able to hold this defense out and force it into an auto-litter fight.
All right, Bellboy Carl now dropping to half health there in that Object 140. Dark God's Dim started to put some cap pressure on, but got shot, reset, forced off. Now he's going to go back on and start building up, but he is still spotted. And then RU251, 3D1 points of damage there going to Master Pupil, and Mort taking tons of damage there. We got a little 1v1 going through, and Destruction Man gonna pick him up. Googlybobbers now turning this fight around. eClipse is the one who is lower on HP than Googly now. eClipse is now just going for it looks like a just hardcore
It's their only option left.
rush cap here. Master Pupil taking down 7 Tesla. Now these members are all hidden. All Googlybobbers, though, has to do is come over the top and find the reset. 15 seconds on the clock. That's still a good amount of time for Googlybobbers to react. As you can see, they're not too worried yet.
Too slow
Tuxilla, VLM not really moving. Nope. Finally, VLM popping over the top, but they don't see any of the members. Tuxilla now being forced to come over, but they're only 4 seconds. Now 3 on the clock. eClipse might be able to take this with a quick window. They are spotted out down to 0, but the shots did not come out in time. eClipse successfully quick caps against Googlybobbers for their second victory here. On to Pro Rovka. Man, oh man, that came down to just a few seconds. Googlybobbers just not reacting in time. That we saw eClipse there. Like you said, they were set up. They were in the good position. They got the RE251. They got the pick that they needed. But where did they start losing the tanks? You said they put too much focus on the cap. Is that what it was?
Yes.
Too much cap focus for them.
They had the opportunity to play that a little bit more aggressively and take everything west of the rail line for themselves. I can't necessarily critique that without taking more of a look at it and to say whether what they did was effectively okay or not.
Okay.
Their biggest mistake, though, was leaving only 1 tank on the hill and even leaving that opportunity open for Googlybobbers to start getting back. They had them controlled at about 25% of the map.
Yeah. And
they started losing that control because their positions were a little bit weird and they were rotating in perhaps bad communication. Not really sure. But let us bring up ye old battle results page.
Hey, these are the stats.
Master Pupil. 27 hundo in E5.
27. Wait, David, did you say 27 hundo?
I did.
Wow.
Wow. Team 1 Diabetic with 2,500. The rest of the team fading down. Tigers surprisingly got nothing.
He was alive.
Fired 15 times, hit 3, pen none. Rough times in the Tiger Hood.
That happens.
Viral over here in his E5, 24-35, getting a lot more damage than I would have expected. Heavy to get in this match.
So I mean, good for him. Good for
ranking up there. Overall accumulation of comments on it are both teams made a lot of mistakes. Clips made less.
All right, that's a good way to break it down, and that is sometimes can be all that you need to get a victory here. So now they are up 2-0 against Googlybobbers. Going to be switching sides again. So let's get right down into it and take a look at what we've got for our takes.
To be fair, Eclipse did a lot of things well as well.
Yeah,
they weren't
driving backwards and
It's just not as fun to say it that way. Hey, dude, driving backwards is a legitimate strategy sometimes.
Right, but
I'll tell you a story some other time. Remind me of the KB5.
Yes, I'll write it down.
Anyways, Googlybobbers with a 260, a 140, 2 T22s, 2 TVPs, and RE251. Eclipse with an E5, 2 Action X's, 2 140s, a T22, and an RE51 as well.
This is what I love about this. I get to learn so much about this game by making comments. I'm like, oh, no, there's actually times when Tank does that. And that's what I love about this game. There's so much diversity in it. There's so many little things, all these little, like...
We've got the time. I'll tell the story as briefly as possible without all the glorious details.
Great.
One of my teammates tried to kill a KV5 that was literally backing up at him at an angle, and he couldn't do it. And he was like... He was laughing. He was laughing really hard. But he couldn't do it. So then he was like, well, maybe it's actually more tough. So we look at the armor model, and then we decide to take out 2 of them together and drive them backwards across the battlefield, and it worked. And it worked way more often than it should have. Now, obviously, it doesn't work in a pro match, but it worked because the KV5 has a very well-known weak point on the front that makes it easier to kind of take down. So it's hilarious.
Great. Driving backwards.
Made a video
strat.
But didn't.
And we can stream this weekend. We can try that strat out.
I don't think it still works.
Hashtag Battle Buddies.
I'm not playing a KV5. I'm tier 10s. I have played enough tier 8 to fill 1,000 lifetimes. I am tier 10 forever now.
Hashtag tier 10 for
People,
life.
you want to play tier 9? I'm like, well, I'll play it long enough till I'm able to commentate on it. You know, like I play the Czech tier 9, which is actually pretty good as well.
Yeah.
But no, as soon as 10s all day.
10s all day. All right, here. So we got a little
Best
bit
in the battlefield, man.
A little bit of a different strategy. Well, I mean, not a different strategy coming up with these teams, but this time the RE251 didn't go rushing head in to Tigers to blow up. So that's a good start.
I could say that's a solid improvement.
solid upkeep there.
Now, you see, this is what we were talking about before. Valkyrie Vuos is over here doing what Tesla had to do last time because he was dead.
Right. So this is what Googlybobbers intended, hoped. This is what you normally do if your scout is still alive.
Look at the timetable on it. Now, if eClipse wanted to dive them in the 1-2 line, they have another tank there. They have a 140 there.
Wow,
and
and
DGZ
Dark on Zim!
already getting lit up, just even trying to poke it. Everything working so much better for Googlybobbers this time around.
Looks like they're just a little bit of what should have happened last time. They're making sure it happened this time. Again, the thing that we saw, I can't remember who it was on steps when they went over to the side. Dark Zim in some trouble here. They're pushing over to the north, and didn't quite work out the first time. Like, why they do that? The second time worked out beautifully, and like
Valkyrie
just
may just go up and over.
those little nuances here.
Skill shot. Here it
All
comes.
Right. Who can
No
he
breaks.
do it? Go through.
No
Valkyrie
breaks.
Vuos going over the red, takes it up, finds him.
Those were breaks.
Backs right off.
Those were breaks.
Doesn't take the shot.
Why?
Got so close there. Now Viral.
Sorry, Valkyrie. I don't mean to criticize. Except I do mean to criticize. Go over next time and just kill him.
Viral.
That was yours. It's all yours.
Take some shots there, and the fans will have gone crazy. 5
They
minutes
would've.
and
I
12.
would've.
5 minutes, 12 seconds on the clock there. Viral takes damage. Dark Zim, though. One more shot. There it is. Valkyrie does take the one. Doesn't quite finish him off there. But this one should. Dark Zim shouldn't be able to make it out here. 287 going back on Valkyrie. The RU251 battle that Valkyrie should win. Meanwhile, Viral pushing up against Drock. 7 Tesla taking some damage too. And we've got a little bit of a fight here going on in the middle as well. Valkyrie does finally see Dark Zim. But down here, all the way in the south, Tigers, Mort and T1 Diabetic going up against Tuxilla, VLM, and 7 Tesla from Googlybobbers. VLM, 662 points of damage there. He still has 2 more shots. There's one in a T1 Diabetic. Let's see where the second one goes. And then the center, Tuxilla, taking some shots there. Drock, though, just being surrounded like vultures by Googlybobbers. Viral and Destruction just driving in circles literally around this poor tank.
Oh, we
But
got him.
he found him! Master Pupil and Drock find 2 kills. Tuxilla and Viral going down. VLM goes down to Mort, and eClipse is going to take this one. Bubble Boy taking 7 Tesla. Valkyrie does finally find Drock. He stayed alive so much longer than he should have. Sovereign Zool getting lit up in the middle. 4 or 5 tanks for eClipse against just the 2 Googlybobbers, and this is going to be eClipse's 3rd victory. Now Focus Fire after Focus Fire, 43 points of HP. Who is going to pick it up? It looks like it's going to be Mort, and it is going to be Mort there, going in for the Ram just in case. And eClipse has a 3rd victory there against the Googlybobbers. Drock picked up the kill.
Drock have MVP, man.
Found the kill.
That was a 1v3. It started out as a 1v3.
Really?
Somebody peeled off to try and help the South, and then 2 T22s took a really long time to kill an E5.
Drock's like, no, guys, I got this.
Not only did they take way longer than they should have to kill an E5,
Yeah.
he killed one of them, which just shouldn't have happened. That is not running the battle buddy system at all, or well,
Yeah.
or either at all.
When one guy can 1v3 you, well, not 1v3 you, but 1v3 and get a kill.
1v1 him IRL, mate. Let's go to stats. Draw cap 32, 24.
MVP.
It's cool. He just blocked 2,000 damage with an E5.
Hashtag battle buddies.
What?
That's beautiful.
Shot 8 times, penetrated 8. Great game, Draw Cab. Master Pupil, you see the numbers. They exist. Oh, Pupil. Shooting a teammate.
Negative.
Shooting
I
a
mean, because
teammate.
he's like
Draw
Drock's doing
Cab,
such
100%
a good job.
MVP.
Yeah.
If he had died in a reasonable amount of time, or had the Googlybobbers just stopped and been like, well, let the E5 shoot us. Let's focus our fire on the other guys in the south.
Probably good turn.
Googlybobbers could have won that.
Yeah.
It's so much in the strategy there.
Good for you,
is
Drock.
very well. Oh, well, okay, maybe not. When you bounce 3 with a TVP, things are already getting real bad. Yep. Not a good game for Googlybobbers.
But a fantastic game for Drock.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's like the scale.
But
you
a
know?
fantastic
you
game
have
for
one,
Drock, yeah.
You lose one there. So
That
congratulations.
was.
Congrats
So
to that
one of the
play.
things we used to do me and my team when we watch WGLNA is there'd be times when sometimes things happen that shouldn't happen.
Okay.
You know, like two people are just bouncing each other left and right.
Sure.
These could be good teams. Sometimes it just happens, right? Or there's one moment where a guy fired 4 shots and bounced them all. What we used to do is we used to go put on polka music in the background while we watched it. Trust me, it gets really funny really fast when you do that.
Oh my gosh, I feel like wow. Before we just got a word that there's been a disqualification for eClipse. They had an illegal lineup there, so that is going to be a point to Googlybobbers. So that is a victory, guys, right there.
And
it is now 3-1
That's it for Proroka.
And then Proroka done. There it is, guys.
Didn't want to play that 4th game anyways.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. That is ridiculous. Well, so there we go. And we kind of talked about
Isn't that
this.
the second time for Eclipse
I don't know.
to get a DQ over lineup stuff?
Is it when they face
Pretty
ping?
sure it is.
I think it
Yeah,
happened
this
when
they face ping is on Proroka too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Oh, get it together.
So we're like, hey, Drawcab's killing it. It'd be really funny if he was the one who he's like, guys, I don't want to be on that tank again. But congratulations, victory for Googlybobbers.
That would be really funny.
Now-
Think about it. He's like, they're trying to tell him a lineup. He's like, no, I'm playing the E5. And they're like, Drawcab, you're not playing E5. No, I'm playing E5.
Guys, did you see my points?
And they don't
Did you
take him
see my points?
seriously, and then he readies up in it, and they get a DQ.
DQ? Well, we don't know
I
if
don't-
that happened.
I don't think that's what
I don't think it
happened,
happened either. But we are going on to Sand Reaver. Hey, I made it work. So now bringing this is a map. Thank you. This is a map that we haven't seen this new year either. So I'm excited to see if any tanks or any teams have new strats on this. If it's still going to be was this a defensive heavy map, offensive heavy map,
Defensive heavy.
defensive heavy map? So I'm excited to see. I'm assuming
Biased.
in a pretty large way.
Yet to be determined.
Okay.
But from what I remember of it, yeah, should be.
Okay, cool. Now,
Not so much that you can just sit there and camp, but enough to where if you know the offensive options, you know how to shut them down or what they're going to look for. So it's like, well, they're showing up over here.
This is what we do.
This is what they're going to try to do, so let's rotate away from it. You need to make them chase you all game or something like
Time
that.
runs out. Gotcha.
It's so easy. Defense gets so easy because you don't have to know what to do best. You just have to know what they're trying to do and then mess
just
it up.
Be there. Like,
And it just doesn't work.
Sure.
It just gets so
And
frustrating.
it makes sense why defense has such an advantage, and why you want to be a defensive team if you want to get a victory. Now, the T22, I feel like this is a map that I remember when we last saw this, it was like, whoa, why is it able to just kind of rock back and forth and just take those shots all day like crazy? When you played it, is that am I correct in that? I think you're talking about how it's like it didn't really have to sit and let its target reticle aim. It could just kind of rock and
The T22?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So
It's got pretty great dispersion.
so
which means it doesn't really disperse while you move. Not really. Like it does a little bit, and it's not super accurate. So even when it is fully aimed, it can kind of do some little squirrely
Okay,
stuff.
so that's kinda gets
similar
give
to an
and
STB
take.
if you've played one. So it's got its own little quirks, but it's still incredible.
All right. Well, if you haven't played
So
T22, go play it or work toward it.
Five
But
point
right now,
something.
it is
Reload.
Eclipse versus Googlybobbers. Eclipse is up 3-1 onto Sand River. Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got for our tanks.
We just got word that last time Eclipse brought 3 140s, hence the DQ, as that is disqualifiable.
That is that.
Clearly.
Can't have more than 2.
And it's not, that makes more sense. It's not bringing too many tier 10s, it's just bringing too many of one type. We do have a limitation of 2 of any type. Remember that, folks. Googlybobbers with 2 E5s, a batch shot at T22, 2 TVPs, and RU251. Eclipse with 2 140s, not 3 this time. Great job. An STB,
Improvement.
T22, 2 62As, and M40, M43.
Improvement already off the bat. But Eclipse does have a pretty good lead, a 2-game lead here going on to our second map. So if they can just win the defenses, they'll win the match. So that's got to be a pretty good feeling for them. Obviously, I'm sure that'd be
Are exactly right, sir.
a huge weight off your shoulders. So we got a pretty good force here for Eclipse moving down the 1-2 line, bringing that artillery. Now, David, where do you think where are we going to probably see that artillery camp or
Southwest,
set up?
about J1 or so.
All right, get some nice shots there. And he's just looking for now. So Eclipse, are they going to be going for cap pressure and use the artillery to reset, or are they just going to go for spots, whittle down Googly with the artillery, and then go for the finishing? Do you think Eclipse really cares about the cap with this kind of play?
Bit of both.
Wow, a little bit. Wow, that would make sense. We talk about this game so much, and there's balance. Balance coming out strong. 6 minutes and 48 seconds here. Looks like Eclipse is making some good use of these T22s by driving them. don't know.
Got a point there.
I don't know where that,
You have a
I
point
don't know where
there,
that
sir.
sentence was going.
So this is a large map as well. Just like Pro, it takes a long time to just devour map control.
Okay.
And also like Pro, it's basically cutting the defense down into 1/4 of the map fairly easily, but that quarter is always defensible. So we saw that last time
So that's what
on the
makes it
last
a little
map,
more
right?
difficult.
Either northwest, northeast, one of the two. They can't really rotate unless you give them the ability to take up half the map from you, which defense will if they're good and they see the opportunity. They'll take it, but you have to give it to them. And even just getting spotted sometimes. So you're running around on the defense. You get spotted. It shuts down an entire area too because you don't know what spotted you. So the other defense isn't able to leak out of containment until they get a better count on people. If they just get spotted everywhere they go, but they don't know how many are there, they can't really move.
Okay.
But as soon as they get solid information on the
like,
other
oh,
side,
let's go.
they're like, oh, well, we counted 3 over here and 2 over here. That means that there's no more than 2 in this area. One of them has to be the arty, so let's go.
All right. And so,
Counting tanks.
and yeah, talk to me.
The most important part of World of Tanks, well, besides shooting the red things.
Shoot the right things, count the tanks in that
Absolutely.
order. Now,
Counting.
is it
Simple.
when you're counting tanks? Is it super important to know what tank you have spotted, or is it just like, hey, as long as you know the number?
Yes, because they can't. You don't want to be spotting the same tank all the time. If you see a 140 and then you see a 140 and then you see a 140, obviously
3 tanks.
you
Yeah, you
counted
don't wanna- you don't
one
wanna
of
say
them
that.
at least twice because they can't have 3 140s.
Right.
They get disqualified for that, as we just covered.
nice tie-in. That was great.
So,
Uh-oh.
here's Viral trying to eat up that extra map territory without doing enough proper scouting, without
Wow.
having proper backup, and he is rip any moment now.
Get ready to press F for poor Viral. He's just going to start running with that bad shot, trying to do as much damage as possible. But, oh, right into a rock is going to stop him.
Oh, wow.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is where he lies. Nice pick up there. And that is a tank there falling for Googlybobbers. And this might be if Eclipse can pick up a victory here. Man, 4-1 going on to defense. Not a bad position to be in at all. 4 minutes, though, and 18 seconds on the clock. So about half the game has gone by. So Eclipse, if they're going to do something, they need to do it soon. Or if the time runs out, Googlybobbers will be the victor since they are on defense. Now, one thing I just saw, T1 Diabetic knocked over a tree. Wasn't spotted, knocked over a tree. And we talked about how you can see that. Everyone can see when train falls or when buildings get exploded. So, the importance of being extra careful when you're trying to deny information to teams, even thinking of, all right, don't knock trees down, don't hit fences, don't run over that car, because even if they can't spot us, they can see that and be like, oh, there was a tank here,
Yep.
So T1 Diabetic, be careful next time. Don't hit that tree, man. Do not hit that tree. Tigers is spotted up, and it looks like Eclipse is just going to start surrounding Googlybobbers here. 320. Going into looks like a 7 Tesla in that 50-51. We have 4 tanks kind of sitting around the northern cap in this berm right by the sand dune here. Destruction up in that T22. Getting ready to probably rain down some shots there onto the 140s coming up from Eclipse, but we are now seeing Master People go through, and I really haven't seen the M40 and M43 do much, right? I really haven't seen him. He hasn't really hit anything. So it'll be interesting to see how
Hard
that
to
kind
hit
of
stuff on this map.
come into play. Oh, yeah.
There's one, though. 689.
Dark Hudson's like, shut up, Christian. Watch here. Boom. Done.
I hear you.
VLM taking 304 there. And that 50-51 and just the HP being whittled down for Googlybobbers. Nice 630 damage going into Master People there. Dark Zim taking 230. He is now spotted. That's a scary feeling as artillery. I've been there. When you're spotted, you're like, get out, run. They know where I'm at.
Yeah, he was sitting directly up on top of a berm, though. So.
Pop back down. Easy.
Yeah, so he's just right
Look at
up
that.
here. So he just backed down and he's safe. Meanwhile, Valkyrie Viewas almost paid for it with his life as well. So net positive. As long as the arty's alive, it's still effective.
All right, here, but VLM looks like he's about to be taken out. There it is. Tigers picking up that one. And meanwhile, Bubble Boy Carl going up against it. T1 Diabetic finds Valkyrie Viewas. Nice focus fire there from Eclipse. 7 Tesla looks like he's going to be going down next, but not if Sovereign Zul can beat him to it. 336, they're going to 347. No! 7 Tesla does fall. It is Tigers pick him up in that 140. And looks like Eclipse is just going to push into these 2 remaining members. Going to pick up their 4th victory of our 2nd match of the night. We set up for a beautiful 5th on defense onto Sand River here. Tigers, look at that. Just barely in the HP going up against the T22 and that 140. One more shot, he'll be going down. Eclipse just going to put some cap pressure on. Just had insult to injury there. 40 seconds, but that is irrelevant. Destruction Man is getting surrounded here. Drock going head-to-head with him. 643. Oh, the artillery almost hitting Drock for that, but Tigers is
So
going to
you can see it.
pick it up there. He's like, hey guys, I'm still here too. Remember, I was a part of this battle.
No, so I was swinging the camera around there at the end to try and get the angle that you could see where Tigers was, why he wasn't dying. Because from the regular
'cause
camera angle we
yeah,
had,
it looked like
he was just parked on the
Right,
side of a hill.
right.
And he's just a little bit of hit points. Why is he playing so aggressive? He's actually very, very covered. It was only really a turret that could be shot.
Is the good depression on the 140?
No.
Oh.
Well, I mean, it's got one more degree of depression than the other, like the T62 and the 430. But it was a good place for him, basically a better place than it looked like. I just want to make sure people could see that so they kind of understand what's going on, because sometimes it can be hard to really correlate what you see in this game with what is applicable to when you play, you know, as a viewer. And it's there. It's all there. It's just hard. It's hard for us to show it to you specifically. You got to look for it. Got to see it. If you ever have one of those questions, but why isn't that guy getting shot? Go check that out. Go in a training room with a buddy. Your battle buddy.
Find that spot.
Look at it.
Hey,
And you'll see.
hashtag battle buddies.
Positional play is one of the #1 things you can learn from these guys.
All
Almost every position they use is excellent. But let us go to the statistical review.
Because we do have a timeout from Googlybobbers.
Indeed, sir. Well, that's 7 dead and 7 alive.
That'll do it.
There's your problem.
Is that how you win?
All
this?
your tanks died.
Is that how you win this game?
Okay, so Sovereign Zool, 3 shots out, connected with none. Viral, well, we saw him get
he was the
obliterated
poor guy.
in the corner. Valkyrie view us. Got 3 shots in, 3. We can go through everybody, but here's the winner of the match. Tigers with 2892 in the Object 140 and 4 kills. This is not one of those games that you look at, and look at that. Distance traveled for the swag points. 2.6, I believe, kilometers.
He's like, I'm just gonna
That's,
do a lap around the map and then finish.
That's what he did.
Yeah.
He actually did a lap and a half around.
Because he
the
went
map,
all the way
I
through,
think.
and then came all the way back.
Yeah. So basically, what eClipse did is they started off with like a little bit of the yang. They got into a certain place.
Did they throw in the?
And then they came back around for the yang.
Oh,
And just
way better.
closed it out.
Well done, Eclipse. The yin yang play, guys. See, again, the things you can incorporate in your game. When you get into a battle, type in chat, guys. Yin yang. Everyone's gonna know what you're talking about.
I think it's yin.
Oh, is it yin? Yin yang. So we are getting ready to go into the next battle. Again, Eclipse going on to defense. This should be an easy victory for them. But Googlybobbers could still come back. Again, right at the end there. I mean, once was it Viral who got taken out? Is that what just kind of threw it over? And once that
That's
tank
game
is
over.
done, it's
That's
just,
game
all right.
over. You lost a tier 10. You lost your bat shot, which had to be important to them overall.
So,
Not a good position.
And is that kind of the times like why would you send that as this? I mean, yes, it's a quick tank. Yes, it's mobile.
It's the best tank for that role. I mean, you see Militant do it all the time. It's
true.
the
That's
paths
true.
that
We
you
did just-
take. It's
yeah.
the circumstances. You see some tanks in the southeast. You think the northwest is clear. And you find out, no, they're
Nope.
rotating. And
There's
it's
4
not.
guys there. The yin and the yang, baby. Eclipse now, 4-1, one more victory, and they can close it out. Can they do it? Can Googlybobbers come back? Let's get right into it and take a look at what we've got. 4 tanks.
We're going to get fired tonight. Googlybobbers with 2 E5s, 2 140s, 2 TVPs, and an AMX 1390. Eclipse with 2 140s, 2 T22s, a T62, and 2 T54s.
David, they fired me last week. I just have the keys.
Oh. Cool.
Yeah.
All right. So, you got me on that one. 2 T54s. They are not the lightweights. They are the tier 9s.
Yeah,
How can you tell the difference? So you look really closely.
are they the same?
You look really closely, and then you just read the name where it says.
Oh
T54.
yeah, that's where it is.
Other than that, they look exactly the same.
Cool. All right, here, Eclipse moving most of their members over here to the north to kind of set up here. And that's the other thing about defense here. It looks like a lot of the positions that you kind of start off with, you just go to the north to make sure you cap it, but you can also fire down onto the southern cap from all the positions here. But Eclipse might just be going for, again, a rotation. Seeing a lot of members are going to continue to push over to the western side here. And Googlybobbers pushing over to the east. We got a little bit of opposites going on there. Minute in, they're looking at kind of what you know as the game progresses. Do you think Eclipse is just going to continue what they're doing and push other guys and try to come behind Googlybobbers? Or
Taking up that map control, and they're banking on timing and assumptions. First off, they're not going to get caught out like Viral was. Why? Because they're rolling with a posse. When you roll 5 deep in the club, they can't handle you.
No.
Lessons for life, Christian.
Okay.
Lessons for life.
Let me write this down too.
Yeah, right here.
KB5
deep
in the club.
The club. There you go. One step away
They
from
can't
being a
handle
professional
you.
World of Tanks player. So now eClipse is going to continue being even more aggressive. That's just crazy talk. They could have been capped out twice now.
I mean, are
Maybe
they
3
are they
times.
just banking that Googlybobbers is there's no way that
Yeah.
this team would do this?
I mean, it's not a bad assumption overall. It's not just about this team. A lot of teams are going to play this slower than this, or this slowly. So I don't know.
But with all those
I'm
members
at a
now
loss.
being lit up, looks like 7 Teslas spotted out all those guys. Googlybobbers might just start barreling those tanks, but they do not have anyone near the cap, so it looks like they're not going to be able to get there to put that cap pressure on. And eClipse is just getting closer and closer to their kind of end positions here that we might be seeing in the next couple seconds. Master People driving a little forward there, taking some shots there, getting a nice little bit of damage there onto Viral in that 50-51. 36 seconds on the clock, but here comes Sovereign and Tux. They're going to start putting that pressure on. Googlybobbers are now forcing eClipse to come to them even quicker. VLM and Viral might be going down here, but that doesn't really matter because they only have 14 seconds to get to the cap and reset it. They're sending Master People to go through, and Dark God Zim goes down to Viral. Bubble Boy Carl takes down, though, VLM. A 1-for-1 exchange, and there is the reset onto Valkyrie, which he had the most points. A huge reset there coming up for eClipse. Destruction Mang trying to retreat. Looks like there's nowhere he can go. Master People, though, getting focused down the center. 1,300 points, but he has drawn off all the members off cap. Another 1-for-1 exchange. Master finds Destruction. Valkyrie takes down Master, and Valkyrie now paying it for his life. That 1,300 going down there to that T-54. 5 tanks for eClipse against now just the 3 of Googlybobbers. And this looks like it's going to be eClipse's 5th and final victory to end out our second match of the night here on to Sand River. Showing overall domination. Again, mind you, we don't know what could have happened with Googlybobbers' game if they would have actually played it, but the victory that they have is because of a DQ. So eClipse showing amazing amounts of control here and domination on this map. The Sovereigns will be surrounded.
Clearly missing Dr. Halo, in my opinion.
Okay, good
Very,
point.
very clearly.
Good point here.
And it doesn't look like they have zombie food either. Doesn't look like he was able to make it. So that's two
Two pretty
of
key
their
players.
callers and very important players to them gone.
Shows you how
Rough
kind of
times
just certain how everything kind of fits together perfectly,
in the bobberhood.
or you really don't get that team cohesion at all. But congratulations to eClipse for their 5th victory, finishing out our second match of the night, 5-1 against Googlybobbers. So at the end, like you said, a lot of teams playing slow in Sand River, so they probably could, not a huge risk to take all their tanks and rush them all the way around. But it could have got closer. If they were spotted out any quicker, Googlybobbers just puts 3 members on cap, and it's like, good luck, eClipse.
Yeah, well, the assumption is not necessarily bad. The risk is gigantic no matter what. Statistically, let us take a look.
Check it out.
It's making everybody guess all the time. Like, is
Statistically?
he actually not going to go?
Uh-oh.
7 Tesla with an Object 140
Sharpening
and
their pitchforks.
1970 overall. TVP also, again, getting shreked, not doing much. Seems to be a trend with the Czech tanks. They're either fantastic or they're terrible.
That's true. We saw that Tuesday.
Anytime there's a new autoloader in game, it always happens.
Really?
Except for the T69, which was broken good. Tigers with a 2543 out of his Object 140, stealing 143 damage. No, 93 damage from my fantasy team and Master Pupil. Don't do that, Tigers. Master Pupil 2450, Bubble Boy Carl with 2157 and 3 kills, etc., etc. All aside from Dark God Zim breaking 1,000 or 1,500. And Dark God Zim, I'm gonna explain it for everybody. He had him. He went against TVP. He had him dead to rights. He was gonna win. He's counting the shots. They got lit on fire. He died. It's like, well,
man.
I think he got lit on fire twice, actually.
Auto fire extinguisher, man. That's
No,
what
I think he got lit on fire twice.
Oh, that's
So,
super unfortunate.
it just happens sometimes. I mean, you make the call. You're going to win. You play aggressively. You want to go for it.
counter
You
fire.
can win the 1v1. You can take out a tier 10 with a tier 9. Let's do it. And then all of a sudden, you're on fire.
RNG, that's definitely still a
Stop,
part of
drop,
this
and roll.
game, just like always. Ladies and gentlemen, I mean, the last 2 matches were exciting, but up next, a match that I'm very looking forward to. It is Simp versus Simple Tankers. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.